Hello my friends, and welcome back to my channel. This is Carmen with Elemental Designs. So I have mentioned in one of my previous videos that I wanted to do some more lapbook creations or lapbook album type creations on my channel. So I do have some clips of what I've been working on so far, but I wanted to just kind of go over in a rough video what I've done thus far. And how I plan to, I guess, keep moving forward. So, because I don't always get a chance to kind of do the live, the live speaking as I'm doing my videos. Sometimes I do have to kind of go back in and do a voiceover. Um, I wanted to take this opportunity real quick to kind of just go into what what I've been doing, what I've been working on. So, excuse me. All right, so this is the base for my lapbook. My lapbook kind of album, kind of journal. I'm not really quite sure exactly how it's gonna end up looking, if it's gonna look more like one thing or the other. So for right now, it's classified as all three. um, so this is the base, and like I said, I'm going to put this video up first, and I will be putting up the other parts of the videos afterwards. So you might hear some of this information being repeated. I do have the process video of how I created this cover here. It has, I'm kind of debating right now if I want to turn this into a big pocket, which is the original concept idea, to kind of glue this on both sides and just turn this into a big pocket, which I think I kind of like that. And I did the spine. As you can see, this is 0.22 in thickness chipboard, and what I did is I did glue two of them together. So there's two of them in the back. There's a single strip here for the spine, and then I took a manila folder and I backed it with some chipboard to make it kind of sturdy, so that it's kind of sturdy. The composition of how I've made this so far, I've not duct tape. I use packaging tape, right? This clear tape. I call all tapes duct tapes. You guys have probably heard me do that before. So I use some of that clear tape. Not the one that breaks real easy, like for office work and stuff like that, but the good one. The one that you use to like package boxes and stuff like that. So that's how I glued my spine together. That way it has that flexibility, right? So that my covers are not so stiff that I can't open them or close it properly. So that's what I've done with that. And I love this paper. This is from a digital paper collection that I got online, and I got it for free, by the way. You just kind of have to print it out and go to town, have some fun. I've also, let's see what else I have here to share with you guys. Oh yes, well, this is not all the way through, so I'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, this is some of the envelopes that I'm working on. And with these envelopes, I've gone ahead and added a clear pocket. So there is acetate, the printer. I use printer sheets or projector sheets, whichever way you want to look for it. You'll probably find them in both ways. But I use printer sheets or projector sheets, the plastic kind, and that's how I did that. I added two eyelets to each of the sides. And then I just used a really beautiful image of some mermaids. And then this is the back of the envelope. I'm not sure how I'm going to decorate that just yet, but I did two of those, and then around the edges I used some washi tape, and this is it just says washi tape foil. It's from Joann's, I know that. It's got like whales and it's very sea themed, so I used that for this. I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to be placing these, but for right now that's what I have as far as that. What else have I done so far? Oh yes, these are partly done. Again, still kind of working through what exactly it is that I want to do and how I want to do it. This is a mermaid themed or sea themed, if you will, kind of lapbook journal album. I'm gonna have to come up with like a whole new name just to describe the complexity of this thing. And so these are just manila folders. As you guys can see, they come like this. So you just kind of fold them in half, and then you have options here, options here. You could even make a pocket here. So I've decorated one side of it so far. and that's kind of what that's looking like. I still have to kind of distress it off. I've gone in with some of the washi tape and added just some really pretty accents to this thus far. I still have to do the back side, and then this is the other one, same style, and these are gonna go in there somehow, some way. I'm thinking that I might glue these in to the spine, or I might put these on the covers. I'm not really sure yet. Right now I'm just working on getting pieces together. This is something else that I'm working on right here, which I haven't finished yet. I'm just working on all the different pieces, and some of it I did catch on film, some of it I didn't. Um, I'm hoping, since I'm going to be doing at least more than one of each of these items, that I'll at least be able to catch one process of how I make these things. And again, there's other people here on YouTube that do it. I've mentioned before that I get greatly inspired by watching Bohemian Crafter. She is pretty much the source of my inspiration when it came to learning about the different types of pockets and you know, what to do with envelopes and just different things that you can do with envelopes. She does beautiful, like super amazing albums and lap books and journals and all kinds of things. I mean, I can only hope to get that good one day. She is absolutely amazing. But she, I saw in one of her videos, it's probably one of her older videos, where she does this thing with envelopes. And this is an envelope right here in the center. And all I did was cut it down the middle right there. And then this is an envelope here. This is an envelope here. And I'm going to be creating something with this that'll store, you can either put pictures or something like that. So far, I've just got, I constructed it yesterday, and I've got the covers. I started working on the, you know, what the main cover is, the main flap for one of them, and this is going to get tucked in here somewhere. Luckily, I made the book large enough so that I can use these larger envelopes, but keep that in mind, you know, the sizes of your envelopes compared to the size of your covers, your books, you know, so on and so forth. So you don't end up using envelopes that are too wide or too small or too big for your projects. Also, I've gone ahead and done, let's see, where are they? Here they go. These are just some of my ephemera pieces that I'm going to be using in this album. I've gone ahead and done some pockets. Again, these are all printed images. These are all printed images. And these are regular envelopes. You can see the closure right here. Just cut them in half. Punch out a little opening here so that the things are easy for you to slide into, so that you're not struggling to, you know, put in your tags and stuff like that. So this is, I did 4 of them so far. I might do more. This is from the printed collection, and these are all just like basic ephemera pieces that I printed from the computer. So these are my 4 pockets. None of them are covered in the back because most likely they'll be glued and backed to something. And that's what I've gotten done so far. This is definitely going to be, you know, these lap books and journals are a labor of love. They can get a little tedious when it comes to just all the different things that you have to do to incorporate into them, but I absolutely adore doing this. It's just so relaxing for me to get these things done. I really, really love working on them. And so I still have lots more to do in here. I have here some leftover pieces from some of the other lap books that I've worked on, which I think what I'm going to do with these, because I do have quite a few of them. Well, I'm going to use the ones, let's see, these are all broken in half already. I'm looking to see if I have any that are still whole. It looks like these are all cut apart already. Oh wait, no, I found 2 that are. Alright, so I'm thinking that with these, now these are just the envelopes, you know, the section of the envelope that I didn't use. I think with these, I'm going to do something like this, like where they're overlapping each other. I'm going to cut this down to size because it's obviously way too long for my book. And if I don't cut them down to size, what I will do is fold it, right? Let me go ahead and score that. That's kind of how I work. I work as I go. The ideas come into my head as I go. I never really have, a set plan of, oh, this is what I'm going to do. Um, Let me just get my scoring board and tool so that I can score those where I need those to be scored at. And typical me, everything has paint on it. Yes, everything I use ends up with paint on it some way, somehow. So I'm just gonna go ahead and score this right there. And then this right here can become a side pocket for adding different things, or it can become an extension for a page. So this right here I can use to add a page in here, like I would add one of these loose pieces that I have in here and glue that onto there. Part of it I'm going to turn it into a pocket most likely, and then the other half, let me just see. Let me just score this too. Score that too. And then these become like little pockets, little extensions. Okay. So you glue it, I would glue it here, which I'm going to do now, just to show you kind of what I mean. Let me put this book away. And this is how I'm going to fill this book in, is using a lot of my leftover scraps from previous, whatchamacallit, previous lap books that I've made. So this I'm going to leave as is. This top part I'm going to leave as is. I'm going to leave that folded out. This part right here, I'm just going to glue here on the sides and the bottom so that I can turn that into a pocket. And you can do this with double-sided tape if you wish. I personally would recommend wet glue for this because double-sided tape sometimes can pop off, and you're stuffing these little pockets with things and you don't want it to kind of open up on you, or the person that ends up either buying it or you end up gifting it to. So I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna position this right here. I'm gonna make sure this is nice and leveled. And this is going to become a pocket, a page with a pocket, right? So now what ends up happening, and then this can be another extension for another page, or you can just turn this into a different kind of pocket. These I do towards the end because I need to decorate this page before I seal this pocket closed. But here now you have a pocket that you can add little things to. You see, you can add little tags. You can add a little booklet. There's different things that you can add, and it's not going to go through the other side because you've sealed off the bottom. So I like this very much. And then it kind of folds inward like this. If you're scared that it's going to buckle, then just bring it down a little bit more. Let me go ahead and score this just a little bit, one line under, just so that I make sure that I have a little bit of flex in it in case I over embellish it or over decorate it, or it ends up becoming really, really thick. So I'm just going to bring it one line under so that it's not going against my spine. Give me one sec. Okay, that was my daughter asking about mac and cheese that her sister baked for her yesterday. She wants to know if there's any leftovers. All right, so I've just brought that in just a little bit. I'm just gonna double fold that so that I have a nice amount of space This is why I hardly do voiceovers, you guys, or I do audio videos, because during the day it's insane to get a word in edgewise. So more or less, now I have a little bit of space there. So you know, if I make this really thick, I don't have to worry about, oh, it's not gonna close because you know what I did, and it still ends at the same spot. So the dimension is still right on. So I'm gonna go ahead and do another one, which I have here. So I have a total of 3 of them, so I'm gonna do 3 of them. Um, super simple to do. So let's try this again. Let's see if I remember how I did it. So the first thing I need to do is I'm gonna grab my template here because I already have this one kind of going, and this is the end of this. I'm gonna mark myself off where I need, and these are not the same size as far as width because again I use different parts for, I create different size envelopes and pockets. So some of my folder pieces that are left over are not necessarily, you know, equal size. I don't mind it. I actually like the variety of it. I think it adds something special and unique to them. So I actually don't mind the fact that they are not the same size. I can work with that. So I'm going to go ahead and score. And I hope that this scores straight because sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And again, 1 pocket flap, 1 page extension. Let's do that again. I don't like to do it too heavy because sometimes you end up breaking through the paper. So we have that. Now I just need my page. And I'm probably going to add like a little decorative tab or something here just to keep it cute. So I'm going to go in and pretty much I'm just going to put my page so that it's all the way towards the end. And I'm going to mark off my paper, but I know now because of what I did with the other one that I have to go a little bit under where that line is so that I have a little bit of room from the spine, right, from the actual fold. So my line is there. So I'm going to score it right around here, which is about 1/4 of an inch difference from where it needs to be. And then I'm going to glue that right in place, and I have that little bit of space there. So let's glue that in. And I'm going to decorate one of these with you guys. Hopefully I'll have a chance to finish the whole decorative process. Oh, see, I almost forgot. I almost did the whole thing. We're only doing edges, you guys. Just the 3 edges. So we could turn that into a makeshift pocket. Actually, I think I'm going to do it with the other one, so I won't do it with this one. I was going to say, I think I'm going to actually round off the corner, but I didn't get a chance to do it with the other one, so I'm not going to worry too much about doing it with this one. See, this is going to be a little bit longer than the other card is. And I think that this is how I'm going to kind of do this. you know, whenever I get myself kind of going, or whenever I have a chance, I'll come, you know, into a video where I'm kind of going over what I've done in more detail, um, as well as, you know, try to do at least one or two pieces that I didn't get to explain properly while doing the video. Um, this is the first time I'm doing this one, so we're okay with this one. Let me go ahead and trim off that excess, and I'm going to use the scissor for that, um, just in case. There are so many different ways of doing these things. There are so many talented people creating lap books and albums. And honestly, in my opinion, they all kind of derive from each other. They all incorporate different elements from the different techniques. Um, like the spines, for example, of an album is definitely a spine that you can use in creating a lap book. Just those hinges, that's something that you could definitely incorporate into a lap book, and still it'd be a lap book. Just because it's got album hinges does not make it an album. So there's different things that you can do. So whatever your knowledge is, even if you make flip books is actually what got me into lap books in the first place, because when I saw that video of the Bohemian Crafter doing that lap book, and she doesn't do the entire process. She shows you usually like bits and pieces. Like she'll share with you what her project was, well, how, you know, the completed project is, and then she'll be like, look, I did this like this, and I did this like this. I just love the way that she does it. But when I saw her actual lap books, I was like, wait a minute, those things look like the flip books that I already do. They're just in larger scale. And most of you guys know that making flip books was my very first paper craft here on YouTube. That was my very first paper craft, and I absolutely love making those things. I think they're so cute, and there's so many different ways that you can make them. I've made them in so many different ways. But yes, so once I saw that, like in my mind, everything just clicked. I was like, ooh, I can do that. I can do that. It's just larger scale, and I like creating things in larger scale anyway. So, yeah, that works, right? That works. So here I am today, a year later. I just started doing these things last year, and here I am today, and I'm still loving the process. I'm still loving the creativity of it, embellishing it. I don't feel that I personally am so good at making albums per se. For some reason, I think that albums and me just, I don't know, maybe it's the word album. I don't know what part of the album process I kind of get stuck on. I've had so many issues creating albums that I just gave up. I've tried to do them before, but for some reason I always kind of like get stuck. Either it's in the hinges or in the flexibility of the album itself, not it not wanting to open properly, or the pages being too stiff and not wanting to open properly. I'm sure a lot of you guys have had issues with that. For me, the lap book is making kind of like a flexible variation of an album. It has a lot more flexibility, but you can definitely fill it up with pictures and just all different kinds of things. I'm sorry if I'm rambling. But yes, I absolutely love it. I put these away and I need these. So I absolutely love it, love it, love it. And yes, this is why I am here today, sharing with you guys my process. Well, you know, some of my process, because like I said, every single book that you make is different. I don't think I've created two books that are exactly the same. Even if I try, I don't think I could recreate it. A lot of it I forget, to be honest with you. The ideas kind of pop into your head, but for the most part, I forget. Um, if I don't record it, and even when I record it, I have to go back and look and be like, oh, I did this like this, I did this like this, because I think on the go. I don't plan my projects. I don't plan the layout, the look of it. Um, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know what's what bad enough I have a hard time naming things. And that's not because I have like a memory problem or something like that. It's just because I'm so caught up in the actual process of it that I don't care what it's called. Yes, I know it sounds silly, but that's me. All right, so we're gonna fold this again this way, right? Pocket, page extension, and that's what I'm calling this for right now, a pocket and a page extension. Even though it's literally the same flap, but they're gonna be used for two different things. So I'm gonna put my thing in here, my paper, and I mark it. And I'm an eyeballing type of person, you guys. I do the measuring after everything is constructed. I'm like, okay, this measures this measures that. Um, terrible at measuring for the most part. If I don't have it exactly, this is like the Weir's Memory Keeper. That's the one awesome thing about this tool, even though it cuts crooked and sometimes it scores crooked, is the fact that the measurement is actually broken down all the way through and through. So you have the 1/8, the 3/4, the this, the that. You have all of that in there. So remember, we mark it where it actually ends, but we're going to score it at least a 1/4 inch below, right? So that we're not interfering with our hinges. And then like this. Voila! And now that I am of clear mind, I remember that it's three sides. Three sides. I think I'm gonna do all the pieces separate, right? And just share with you guys whatever I can, whenever I can. And I do hope to get better at sharing the process of how I'm making them as I'm making them, because I do plan to make more, and I want to be able to sell these, um, you know, either here or somewhere else. But I want to be able to sell these. And so I will try to share with you guys bits and pieces of my process as I go, as I learn more, and as my own technique evolves more. I'll come back and share with you guys, what I can when I can. I can't guarantee you that I'll always be able to share a full on how to do it, but hopefully between the different videos on how to make this cover, that cover, so on and so forth, and let's make this pockets, that pockets, and these pages, that pages, you'll have enough of a variety where you can use different, bits and pieces from different books, different albums, and kind of make your own, or get inspired to make your own, like I was inspired to make these. These do take time, you guys, especially if you have a very active personal life, like if you work, or um, you have like small kids, or you have other things that you're doing during the day. This will take you some time to do, but it's definitely a really good stress reducer, I will say, because you have to be focused on what you're doing at all times. Like, I'm the kind of person that once I start something, it's really hard for me to like put it down. I don't know. It's like even when I watch a movie, it could be the worst movie in the world, and I have to watch it to the end because I can't leave it incomplete. Like that would just, I'd be like, okay, I did all this for what? How did it end? So I have to finish watching it all the way to the end. I just don't know how to leave it halfway. Making sure this is good to go. Okay. Although I don't mind the envelopes being different sizes, it does bother me when things are over here and things are over there. Unless I purposefully put it there. So I need my pages to be even if they are different sizes when it comes to just the variety of them. All right, so we have 3. right? We have 3. We have 3. And if, depending on what I decide to do with this, I'm not sure if I will add a page to this or what I'm gonna do with this. I do like this. I might add some pockets here or add some kind of flip elements in here. I'm not sure yet, but I'm gonna start decorating it at least for now and getting that part of it kind of done. As far as when I go to hinge these down, um, chances are, but I won't talk about that yet because I'm not doing it yet. So I'll talk about that once I start doing it. Um, we'll see the clarity of it, how it all kind of comes out. I'm not really sure yet. I'm not really sure yet. Let me put these away. So you see I have tons of scraps. I save them all because these can be tags, these can be pages. You can even make a whole little mini book with just some of these leftovers. So don't throw them away. Don't throw them away. Because I know I'm going to be using more of them in this process. So what I would say is that you definitely need some folders or some envelopes. I think I ran out of large envelopes, but I can always make them if I need them. Um, but some regular standard size envelopes, even some irregular size envelopes like for greeting cards, some mini envelopes, you know, little things like that. All of those things can be used in more than one way. So this is the awesomeness about this. You get to use your imagination a little bit and do all different kinds of things. So I'm gonna take all these are all scraps. These are all scraps, and I might have to print out. This is what I have left over of the large pages. So I have 3 of those that I have to cover. Let's see. These are gonna be like this, so I need my paper to be like this. Right? Yes. Since I'm having these, I might be able to use them for different things. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take off all these little white trims, and I have to figure out. I think there's a setting in the printer where you don't print out. You print out the whole entire page. And I see a lot of I was looking at like digital kits, right? And I see that a lot of them say 12 by 12, 12 by 12, but like how can you print out a 12 by 12? Does anybody know about a printer that prints out 12 by 12 size sheets? Because I have yet to see one or hear of one. Um, the most that you can get is either a standard, you know, 8.5 by 11, or the legal size, which I think is like 11 by 14 in length, but it's still 11 inches in width. So the widest that I think that they go is 11 inches, right? Am I mistaken? I don't know. I could be. Or is it 8 by 14? I don't know. I know it's something like that. It's something like that, you guys. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. Let's see. Alright, so let me go ahead and mark off what I'm gonna need. Just flip this over this way so that I can mark this off. Just using a pen. Right there. And I'm gonna go over the line just a little bit because I'd rather have a little bit too much than a little bit too little. Alright. So this. It's like the panoramic view. And think I'm gonna just glue the whole thing down and I'll just fold it over. I'm not gonna worry too much about that excess. Or you know what? Yeah. I'm going to let's see. So these videos do take quite some time, as you guys can see. And I kind of really dislike editing for the most part. I don't like to take bits and pieces out of what I'm doing. I like to leave it as it is because I feel like if I take this out, what happens if this person doesn't know how to do that? So I tend to leave everything in because I know that there's a lot of people that are really just starting out. I know a lot of people tell me they should know how to do this by now. They should know. You cannot assume what others should know. So you don't know who knows what, to be honest with you. A lot of people lack the most simple of things. So you never know what this one might know, what that one might know. So I tend to leave everything in, which tends to make my videos longer, which I know that for the people that are a little bit more advanced, it can be quite annoying. It can be quite annoying to have, you know, to see stuff that you already know how to do. I know even I sometimes get annoyed, like, I know how to do that already. I mean, I get that, I understand. But bear with me, you guys. I do it for the ones that don't know. Once upon a time, you started somewhere too. I know I did. So some things I just leave there because I know, well, I hope somebody will benefit from it, right? That's always the hope. Somebody will benefit from it. So I'm gonna go ahead and glue this in. Remember, you guys, there's such a thing as fast forward, and you can always skip ahead in the video. And if you see the little thumbnails, they slide, they slide. If you see something that is like, oh, okay, let me see what she's doing here, you can always stop the video there and see, you know, get over the basic steps and jump into the more, okay, let's see what she's doing here type thing. And everything is gonna be distressed before I even put it in the album. I like to create everything first. You can do it one of two ways. You can either distress your cards, you know, your folders and all of that stuff first. You can do that first. I personally like to do it after because I like for it to look like one cohesive unit. So by me distressing it after the fact, then all of the pages, everything has that tint around it. And I'm not just, you know, distressing and then you really don't even see it. I wasted all that ink and you can't even see it. So I do it after. That's just my preference, but you can feel free to do it before. There have been some instances where I have been known to distress, you know, distress everything beforehand and not so much after. So it's completely up to you. It's completely up to you. It's completely up to you, you guys. It's what you want to do. So we got our first page, right? This right here. Let's see what we have that I can Let's see. Hopefully I can show my messy hair, because, oh boy, I look crazy right now, you guys. I look crazy. Let's see. I'm looking for bits and pieces of scraps that I might have, be it from a photo um, or something. Kind of like that. Let's see. Kind of like her poking out like that, but I don't know if I like the way it looks also together. I'm trying not to use too many printer papers. I'm not printer paper, dictionary papers and stuff like that. I really don't have for as much as I love creating these books, let me put it like this. For as much as I love creating these books, I actually don't have any junk papers like that. I actually have to try to find, and the thrift store that I was going to, which is, I only really have one local thrift store. She unfortunately is not she's not getting, she's not really filling in her supply the way that she used to. So now I'm kind of between a rock and a hard place, unable to find like those kinds of papers. And I was looking online to buy like you know, bundles of papers and stuff, but the prices actually are a little too steep for me. So I'm trying to I'm gonna have to see if I can go to the library and see if I get lucky. See if I get lucky and I can get some just old papers, you know, old papers that I can incorporate into these things. Because all I really have to rely on is my dictionary that I use. That's really about it. And I think I have one novel. It's not even a novel. Charlotte's Web. And it's a really small book, so it doesn't go far. It doesn't go far. So I have to try to find um, some books. And unfortunately, you go on a store like eBay and you want to buy an old vintage book, they'll sell it to you like it's a collector's item. I'm gonna tear it apart. So I don't want to buy a book I'm gonna tear apart. I'd rather somebody else is really gonna collect and buy it. That would make me feel so guilty. So yeah. So I'm trying to make do with what I have. Trying to make do with what I have. And let's just round off all these corners now that I've decorated them. Or now that I've done this to them, I can go ahead and round all these corners off. I want to get I'm not so probably gonna decorate this with either a belt. I want to put some kind of a little belt or something here. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I'm not gonna glue it shut just yet because I don't know what I'm gonna do to embellish it. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there. see what else. Let's see what else I have. It seems to be that this is going to be a very repetitive in pattern at least. Let's see. Let me get this so small. Because the kit itself only brings about, I think it's like 8 designs. I printed at least 2 of each. Hoping that will be more than enough. But between cutting up little bits and pieces of some of the pages and stuff, I don't know. But hopefully once I decorate it and I add other pieces of ephemera, and I add other things to them, I'll be able to make the pages look a little bit different. I've been wanting to try embossing, which is not something I tend to do often because I'm not really good at it. And I'm so scared to mess up the pages. Like, I would think I would cry, to be honest with you guys, if I did all this work and then I put embossing powder and it got all clumpy and ugly on me. I think I would probably cry. And I don't want to cry. Not over no embossing powder, please. So, we'll see. I'm so nervous, you guys. I'm so nervous. I like this. I like this one for this black one here. So, I'm going to mark it. And just make sure that, right around here, that I'm marking it off right. Which I'm not too worried about. If I miss a little edge, I can always washi tape it up. Which I'm so happy that I had that washi tape because now I can use it for this. It's seed themed and I can use it on my book. Yay! Super excited. I love all things sea related. Except for alligators and sharks, you guys. You know me, right? No alligators, no sharks, please. No. I don't want them to eat me. Please don't eat me. Alright, so let's glue this page in. And I'm going to look for other papers that I can incorporate in here. Maybe some music paper or stuff like that. I'm trying to learn about allowing myself to be more colorful when it comes to paper crafting, because I tend to stick with like vintage looking. Let me stick this from the back. Actually, I tend to stick with like very vintagey, which is my preference. Very vintagey, very old. I like steampunkish type things. I do like steam related things, but even if you see this paper collection, the reason I love this so much is because the colors themselves look very vintagey, very muted. They're not as bright and as colorful. I like bright and colors in my paints and in my art when I do my mixed media, but for some reason it's like they're 2 different towns in the same on the same street. It's so weird. But yeah, I'm kind of crazy that way. Alright, so we got that one. And this actually goes towards the back, so I don't even know what I'm going to do here. Let's see. I should have decorated this first. So I'm going to try to decorate that now. But no. Well, these can go to the side. Yeah, they can go to the side. Okay. I don't want to waste that paper, so I'm going to use it on the side. I'm gonna use it on the side, you guys. I don't want to waste it. Let's see how big I need this to be. Right about there. I'll take that white trim off. Okay. So, um, I'll do as much of this as I possibly can. I'm waiting for my hubby, Sasson and Crafts, to get home. And I think my baby Nina is about that time that she goes for her walk. So you guys can hear her mumbling over there. That's her complaining. Like, Mom, hurry up, Mom. Alright, so this is gonna go in like this. And I kind of like it sideways. I think it adds something to it. So very, very pleased. So this is more or less how I go about doing these. And if you're wondering about my glue, it's just Aleene's tacky glue, which I watered down, and then I used a fine tip applicator on top. This specific fine tip applicator is a Deco Art. My dog is so funny. Mind you, she's already gone to the bathroom. I fed her, gave her water before I even started, but she's looking for attention. Either that or she senses that my husband's coming home. And so she's not by herself. My son is with her in the living room. Alright, so I got that part of it done. So now I can go ahead and seal this off again. Sure, I got glue everywhere I needed it. Oh, Nina. Be right there, babe. I'll be right there. Two things I cannot deal with in life is, and not in a bad way, but I don't like to hear dogs crying, and I don't like to hear babies crying. I feel like that, like they're in pain, and that bothers me. So I kind of I feel anxious, like I have to go and give it some love and give it some attention. Like, don't cry, I'm here. I'm here, I'm here. Okay. All right, you guys. So you guys kind of get the drift of what I'm doing with this. I'm gonna go and give my baby Nina some attention, so she could stop whining. And more or less, like I said, this is gonna be a pocket here. So I'm gonna glue this down. I'm gonna do the rest of the three off camera. You guys more or less saw how I constructed it. Again, this is gonna be another pocket. This is an extension, or this can become another pocket. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with this yet. So I'm going to finish decorating this and adding my papers into it. I'll probably end up printing some new papers. If I do, I'll show you guys what those are in the next installment of this. Hopefully I didn't bore you guys too much. And again, this is going to go in this book on like this, you know. It's going to go like that, like that, kind of like that. So I'm going to have it, or maybe like this. Something like that. in sections. So when I put it, when it all goes in, then it kind of all folds out. And then here I'm gonna add in my wallet. I didn't make the spine too ridiculously big. I mean, I can always cut the spine out if I need to because the back of it is not covered yet. And all that's holding this together is tape right now. So if I need to make it larger, let's say I feel like, dang it, I made it just too small. Since I made it with tape, I can easily take that off and easily put that back on by just adding some more tape. Then I'll just have to decorate over the tape with some washi or something and cover it up. Cover the tape up. But and this is gonna go like this. So you see how it's already starting to kind of come together. I'll put one probably in the middle or towards the end. So it'll be something like this. Something like this. Okay. Maybe I'll add one of these cards to my extension. So maybe I can do something like fold this over, glue that together, and maybe not there. Maybe I can glue this on here. Yeah, maybe that's what I'll do. I'll glue that on there maybe. And then this can be like a flap to, I'll decorate this flap and then I can put something that'll actually hold this down or something of that nature. We'll see. We'll figure that out as we get there. Again, my mind is constantly going, so I'll probably be working on this consecutively for the next couple, and you'll get little bits and pieces of my Mermaid Lapbook. So that's what I'm going to call it for right now. It's Mermaid Lapbook because that's what I think it's going to end up, you know, resembling the most, just because of being able to pull out flaps and extend it out, you know, so much more out. But yeah, I'm going to keep working on this. I'm going to keep building this. I have one more of these that I got to make. I think I'm going to make 2 of them. And again, these are going to be like for journaling. It's going to be for journaling, maybe some keepsakes or something, or maybe some photo mats. You can add like some photos in here or inside of the pockets. So I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to finish this, but I have a big mess, you guys. And yeah, so if you're not subscribed, I hope that you will subscribe. If you subscribe, definitely remember to hit that bell. I'm a little bit out of it right now because I'm just focusing on my dog. I gotta go. But I will come back with more. Like I said, I will have other bits and pieces of this, and they'll be labeled Mermaid Lapbook covers, which was gonna be how I constructed the covers. It'll be like different little bits and pieces, and then you know I'll come back and do just like some intermittent videos, wherever possible. Some of them might be consecutive, some of them might be not. Like I said, it's whenever possible, whenever I get the chance. And share with you guys my progress, what I've done, and kind of do like an overview of some of the things, and maybe do like, you know, 1 or 2 things, you know, that I'm going to be incorporating into the book. So, wow, I thought I was never going to get that out. So, thank you guys so much for watching. And I will catch you guys in the next one. We still have loads to do. And yeah, stay tuned. Bye.